and live through me. And it was the simplest of prayers. But boy, it was prayed from the heart. And, you know, now, 44 years later, in this wheelchair, I'm still praying the same prayer. There are mornings I wake up, Jim, and after so many years of paralysis, my thin, porous, osteoporotic bones are aching, and I deal with chronic pain, and I'm just, you know, breathing issues in this wheelchair, being a quadriplegic, and sometimes I wake up and I feel like I'm that kid back in the hospital. God, I can't do this. I can't manage quadriplegia. I have no strength for it, but I can do all things through you as you strengthen me. And what a great way to wake up.
Even the Apostle Paul had something. People debate.
Jonny Erickson Tada.
He talked about that thorn in the flesh. Do you feel an affinity there with the Apostle Paul and what he was battling?
Absolutely. And like the Apostle Paul, I tell you, I begged God to heal me much more than just 3 times. I went to faith healers. I went to little churches that held healing services. I was anointed with oil. I confessed so many sins, I began to invent them. I mean, I followed every scriptural injunction I could think of to agree with God, if there was any agreement that could be found. Follow every bit of scriptural advice I could to be healed. But looking back, I don't think God designs for us to jump through those hoops. I mean, he's not holding healing out like some carrot on a stick, teasing us. Remember in the Gospel of Matthew, when Jesus said, if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. Right there shows Jesus' priorities about healing. He'd much rather we go through life maimed, without use of our eyes and with hands locked off, than follow a life of destructive sin and self-centeredness. And so I do believe, looking back, that my diving accident was God's way of pulling me up short, keeping me from heading down a road of pride and self-centeredness. And it was tough mercy and a bruising of a blessing, but I do believe God used it to bring me closer to his side. But God is not the kind of God who aims a hose in Earth's general direction to see who gets the wettest, you know, into each life a little rain must fall. No, he handpicks the trials. He is careful to select those infirmities and afflictions that enter our life, and that's wonderful to know. Just like I mentioned earlier about that bottle of peroxide, that box of nice, easy hair coloring, he gets down into the tiniest of details. And I think the thing to remember is that rich will our reward be in heaven as we persevere, bite our tongues from complaining, take a deep breath, and just empty our brokenness before the cross every single morning.
I hope you were inspired by that conversation with Jonny Erickson Tada. She is one of the most remarkable people I've ever met. And if you'd like to learn more about her, she has a great book. It's called A Lifetime of Wisdom, and it really reflects much of the kind of perspective on life that you heard today. You can learn more about that at focusonthefamily.com/weekend. Well, this has been Focus on the Family's Weekend Magazine. I'm John Fuller, thanking you for joining us and inviting you back next week when we'll have more trusted advice and encouragement for your family. Weekend Magazine is sponsored by Focus on the Family.
Wind must be blowing. That sign's kind of lifting up a little bit there today. Well, I guess the wind must blow. Surely did blow on Jonny Erickson Tada. I wonder how many other people have been paralyzed like that or had some dramatic thing like that happen to them. Have not come out so well because they didn't rely on God with what they had left. Which is kind of all anybody can do. I mean, none of us have everything we'd like to have in this life, you know. With whatever we've got, we either see if we can do it ourselves, live our lives in that empty plateau, or we deny ourselves, pick up our cross, and follow Jesus. Sit back and see what he can do with life. I think it's pretty exciting. A crow in my front yard. Look at that. Got a lot of nerve just sitting there like that. He probably wonders what I'm doing driving up into his front yard when he's trying to peck at the grass, huh? Thanks. Is that what you're doing? Pecking at my grass? You old black crow. Ah. Came up empty. Serves him right. Well, he wouldn't be there if he'd come up empty all the time, though, would he? Probably helps me out that he's out there picking up junk that I don't really want to be in my front yard anyway. So it's a good thing I'm not just sitting here complaining about him being in my yard, huh?